All right, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. Guys, sorry I didn't make a video yesterday. As you can tell, a little sick still. I totally didn't have a voice yesterday, so let's run right into the SPY, get this going. There's not too much to cover here. First of all, you're still holding your little previous highs right here, and then you also held above your 595 level there as well. One second, move that back real quick. Although you see a little bit of a surge of volume here on the 1 hour, very minimal volume on the day. And this is really the story of today. And if you go into something like Nasdaq, I think you get more of an answer here. Nasdaq has really tested the lows back down here. It looks like it wants to come back in towards 21,000 flat. But ultimately, you're holding this 21,012 to 21,100. A few wicks, but ultimately, buyers have stepped in pretty aggressively around that region, right? So again, demonstrating that volume here of what's really taking place. I don't know what. There's an update on Yahoo Finance, but whatever. Your volume's been pretty lackluster. 43 million yesterday, 45 million today. A lot of that volume came in the last hour and in after hours, okay? So you're still seeing a low volume overall coming out. Now you had CPI data, which came in line with expectations. The odds of a rate cut came back into play. Again, there's still 100% chance. I think it's 80% chance of a rate cut coming in December again, which is most likely a 0.25. So again, going into SPY, demonstrating the levels that I'm watching, I think you have to go into futures to get a better viewpoint here. You don't get enough information here when you're looking just at SPY. So as we go into ES and we look here, the levels are very clear that I've been watching 6,013, 6,002 to 6,000 flat, which is really your level, like 6,000 flat, just a nice round level. A few wicks under there as well. But you can really see also that this little wick area down here has maintained as a support as well. And you're just maintaining, like you're just not breaking through that. You go to something like the 2 and 4 hour, you're going to be able to I get a better viewpoint and an idea of how this demand zone really was established right about there. So again, what I would be watching, this main candle here has clearly become your main level of support. But again, if you want a more exact area of where those wicks are coming into, it's really more down here, 595 to 5985. Okay, so what I would be looking at right now, if we're around ES, you're making lower highs here. You had a little bit of a push up, but again, the interesting part about this push up today, which brings me more to a sell side thesis here, again, more sellers stepping into the market, but again, you get the push up today, and then it's met by aggressive selling right there. Like your most volume of the day came on the selling at around 2 o'clock going into power. I mean, just weird action, right? So again, if you don't follow me on Twitter, I haven't been posting that much on Twitter. I've been sick, I have the baby, a lot of stuff going on. But still, what I said here, today's action was terrible. Shocked we didn't break into 21,000. Downside seems most likely. This was right into the close. Looking for SMH to come to the 200 SMA. That was my big viewpoint, what I've been looking for there, and kind of where I'm at right now. Going in even into Dow. Dow had some decent action here on the day. But when I look at Dow, and it's something I was actually just looking at here in the after hours, was, in my opinion, you're kind of forming a little bit of a 15-minute head and shoulders intraday here as well. You can say it's the shoulder, head, shoulder. This most likely takes place if it's going to get the breakdown here in the after hours, pushes down towards 44,000 flat, what I would look for, maybe even a deeper push. So we could see back down, 43,900, etc. So what I'd be looking for. Overall, I just see sell side broad market right now. It just doesn't look good. The one area that did look good was crypto on the day. You saw crypto pushing to 93K. But besides that, there was no real love out there. Crypto still looks good. I think it wants to hit 100K. But that's kind of where we're at right now. The dollar as well continues on the rampage to the upside. Not a good signal, not a risk on indicator, more of a risk off indicator here. Still looks incredible there on the dollar, pushing up. The 10-year yield breaking back to the upside. These are all signs you don't really want to see. And something that I mentioned was after the presidency, I really thought more closer to the 20th. So like next week, you would see more sell side, not this week, but you're kind of seeing it happen this week. And typically what happens around 2 to 3 weeks after the president's elected, you get a bit of a pullback, and then going into the end of December, middle of December into the beginning of the year, it's typically very strong. Just statistics data on that as well. You can go look at the data for yourself. But I kind of figured that would happen a little bit. I thought we had a little bit more time here. But you're kind of getting that pullback right now. And again, like I said, there's not too many great things out there. Now, what I will say is I do think the market overall is in a good position going into the end of the year. I still am bullish on the long-term viewpoint here, right? I want to make sure everyone understands that. Like when I look here on the 4 hour, even if I see us coming, I don't really possibly coming down to 20,800, maybe possible. Maybe just down to 21,000 flat. We'll see. But even getting a pullback there, doesn't make me long-term bearish, right? You know, we got a slight break, a little bit of a rejection, breaking back up. Once we get into that price discovery, which I think we will get into above 21,200, I think we're going to get some good long continuation, you know, closer to 22,000, maybe further. We'll see. You know, same thing happened on ES when we had that big breakout of your previous highs there. So again, important that we understand that. And it's possible that you're just consolidating here at highs. It's a very strong possibility with the action, how it's taking place right now. So it's very important that you're not, you know, jumping to conclusions, not getting overly bearish, you know, pessimistic here. That's the important thing. Now, I said that on Twitter about SMH coming down to your 200 SMA. SMH, a few things here that are worrisome, okay? This is higher time frame, so make sure you're following along here. Now, number one, potential double top here. 1, 2, double top action potentially playing out there right now. Not ideal, to say the very least, right? Now, for a double top to play out, you have to break below that neckline point down here. Possibly, you could even say, you know, down here in your 245. I'd really aim for us to break below 241, though. Now, getting down here, you don't have much support. Now, you did end the day on top of support around 247.5. If you hold that level on semiconductors, I think you're fine. However, if sellers step in and we start to continue down here, I think it's more than likely that you get some action like this to where you get the break, retest, and continuation towards the 200 daily moving average, 235, possibly 237, depending on how long this takes to play out, right? Very important that we're watching kind of everything that's taking place here and what's going on in the market, sell side especially here. And I think semiconductors are an area with a lot of the weakness. The other part here is NVDA. NVIDIA is sitting at all-time highs right now. So you're seeing this sell side on semiconductors, the ETF. But when you look at NVIDIA specifically, I mean, NVIDIA looks phenomenal. You're sitting at highs, you're making higher lows. You know, all in all, NVIDIA looks really good. I wouldn't want to be short on NVIDIA, right? I just personally wouldn't. You look here, you're still making your higher lows here. Now, if you break this higher low structure, I can see, you know, sell side making more sense, coming back down, you know, into previous highs, 144, maybe 140. We'll see. But that's not really in the books or in the conversation for me right now, based on how we're holding up here. Now, again, we look at other names here in semis. AVGO looked very good at all-time highs, rejected hard, a lot of selling. AMD, the weakest of all semis, right? Really weak, pushing down to 139. You know, MU looked really good. I loved MU. I got stopped out around like 107, 108. Thank God, because you dipped down to now 99, 100. You're at support. But again, you see you break these levels, sellers step in aggressively. You know, you can go ASML, another one of the weakest semis out there, below, I think, 676. Again, very, very, very important that we're watching this. You have Applied Materials. I think they have earnings tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. But again, more semis. If, you know, these earnings don't go good, this will sell off. And it's important to understand that you can get this sell off this week, and then you have NVIDIA's earnings next week. So we're a week away from NVIDIA earnings. And NVIDIA obviously could flip everything for us, you know, snap of a finger. So it's important that we're playing and we're watching everything that's happening because, again, Applied Materials is a great example here. You know, earnings don't go good, this will drop quickly to 168, possibly the 200 weekly SMA. So again, it's important to not be too biased here, but to also, you know, pay attention to where we're at overall. Now, again, I don't want to make the video just all bearish or things like that, but I got to give a viewpoint of everything that I'm looking at brought out there in the market right now. NQ again, especially, I'm looking, you know, coming back down, see how we act tonight. Again, we won't really know until tomorrow morning. But if we get below 21,100, I do assume sellers start to push us down. Again, it's worth mentioning. Today, when you were selling, like, and I think volume is just, I say it all the time, it's one of the most important indicators you can use. But you got selling volume this morning, and it was really all the volume that you had. Like, you sell off really good volume, 8:30 into 9:30, lots of selling volume. And then it just stops. There's no more volume. And then you go back and forth a little bit where volume's pushing you back to the upside, but again, it's not a lot. And then it just declines and fades. And then end of the day, a lot of selling, and you push back down to like 21,100. That's just how the day takes place. So really weird action. I'm not a fan of that. And again, I think volume is one of the biggest things that can really set up for terrible trading days. And so again, like when you get this type of action, I can't take a lot of trades, especially when you're not getting the follow through. And that's why, again, why I was adamant on Twitter and was saying, I was shocked that the Nasdaq did not dip into 21,000. It was shocking to me, right? So again, levels we're watching, everything in between. Again, you're clearly just rejecting so far right now. And this is ultimately what I'm looking at. And again, There's not a lot to it. It's not the best action, but this is the action that you're getting right now. So it's important that we're paying attention to it. Now, a few equities we're looking at. Tesla, you're getting some interesting behavior here. So let's go over this really, really quickly. If I go out to the 4, I'm really need to go to the 1 day to really zoom you out here. So again, what I'm watching back here, ignore the volume at the bottom. I know it's ugly, but again, little swing low down here, basically 325, 324. You can see how you act here over and over. We'll fast forward to right now. Who would have thought the same levels are relevant today? So again, this 325 level, you're basing on that level. I mean, all in all, as long as you hold this, Tesla looks really good. If you break this level, I think you're coming down to 315 pretty easily. That's, again, it's a personal opinion. Do what you want with that information. But again, as long as you hold that, I think you look really good. Obviously, NVIDIA looks really good. I've said it a lot. I mean, as long as you make higher lows, how can you be bearish? Dow, like I mentioned, is a big question mark right now. I don't love too many other semiconductors right now unless I'm grabbing a lot of time on those contracts. And that's a big thing. So again, I don't even like to talk about time on contracts because most of you guys don't have a recollection of what time means on contracts. Going into energy names, you saw a name like Oxy. Again, Oxy is one of my favorite energy names down here. I'm a huge fan of this. You had another big opportunity. You dipped down to like 48.5, bounced up very aggressively. If Oxy gets back above the 200 weekly, I'm a big fan. Again, I think this is a dated name, what I'd be looking at to come back into 55, possibly into 60. Very cheap for dated contracts. XLE still looks really good. Again, ascending triangle on the 2-year time frame. Insane. So I'd be watching this. I think energy is one of the sectors that hasn't got love from the Trump administration yet. And I think it will. Again, I 100% think this coming year, energy is a sector that everyone has to be watching like a hawk because it has a lot of potential. A few other names, Amazon continues to break out, running at all-time highs. I can't do nothing with it. A few names that I would be watching at near all-time highs, Meta above 583. Again, the chart looks a little clunky here. Sorry, I have a lot of stuff in there. But again, the main level you're really watching is 583. Above 583, I'm a very big bull. Love the upside from that point. Very optimistic above 583. I'm going to tell you that right now. Above 583, I love the upside. Think you're very, very strong on Meta. Okay. Another name, Microsoft. Again, back above 431, 430. I think the next time we break and we actually get the push above 430, I'm very optimistic if the Nasdaq is pushing that Microsoft will push all-time highs. That is my personal opinion. And I think when you push all-time highs here, Microsoft does this thing to where you consolidate for months on end, and then you break out and you get a very good move. Well, it's doing the same type of action. Like you kind of sat down here for a while, you broke out. Again, you can go back here to where you're at right now. Again, very similar action. I love these types of setups that just repeat. Again, I think above 432, 431, very, very, very strong name I'd be watching. Another good name, Google. I think you're getting some opportunity here. I like it more towards 174.5. You get that dip or a mount above 181.5 at this point. In the in-between, I'd be very careful. Very illiquid back down to 174.5, but be careful. But again, these are some of the names I've been mentioning a lot, and I still think they have a lot of good upside, a lot of good potential as a whole. Again, what I'm watching, how I'm charting this right now, I wouldn't be super aggressive. I'd be patient here. If you get the breakout, awesome. You'll get confirmation. You'll mount the levels we talked about. But again, you really need semis here. Semis holding back with all this weakness is very difficult. It's very difficult to trade the Nasdaq on the bullish side of things when semis move like this. Okay. So again, what I'm watching for closely, what semis are doing above 256, I think you're back in business. But until then, be careful, be patient. Might not be the most bullish video out there, but again, what I'm looking for. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, traders.